You're listening to Optional Opinions, the only podcast made by average dudes for average Joes. So quit listening, Micah. So we watched Onward.
We did do
yes.
that.
That's what
Disney.
this podcast is about.
Disney. This one isn't Pixar, right? It's just Disney, or is it?
Nope,
Pixar?
this is Pixar.
I think it is. It is Pixar.
Wow.
It
So
is
Pixar's doing
indeed.
2 movies right in a row.
Yeah,
I know.
2
I was
original
kinda shocked about
movies.
that myself. Yeah.
I wonder which was the A
Nice.
team, because there's an A team and a B team. This was probably the B team, to be
Yeah, I could see it.
Yeah.
'Cause I feel like
the
Onward
B
is
team
much
did a good
more
job, though.
of like a harder concept.
You mean Soul?
Oh yeah, sorry, Soul.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Soul comes out later this year, I think in October. I could be wrong about that. But
It's June.
June?
June 19th. Yep.
Oh, yes, you are correct. I feel like I give myself some leeway just because a bunch of movies are getting pushed back because of the virus that shall not be named.
Is it a bunch? I've only heard of one so far.
I've heard of No Time to Die, but that's the biggest one I've heard of. So I'm assuming
That's the only one I've heard of. I don't know.
there might be more.
Right.
I feel like that move makes sense though, because James Bond typically comes out in November. Like, so that one I was not surprised. Like, it makes sense. I feel like.
Yeah. Okay. Well. All right. Well, let's get into it. Let's our non-spoiler reviews. I guess I'm the freshest to go, so I guess I'm the freshest to have just seen the movie. So I haven't really had a chance to think about it except on the car ride home. So
It's plenty of time.
yeah,
10 minutes.
You're right.
10 minutes. I think just based off feeling, this might change. I really liked it. I'd probably give it I'd say 8.25. 8.25 out of 10.
Oh.
Nice.
So, and I'd say also I'd like us to maybe add our rewatchability. Like if we think this is something that we either ourselves or like most people will go back to watch in the future. Cause like I know Pixar is kind of known for its rewatchability. I don't think that this one has that much. Like, I think this is like, I've seen it once and I think I'm good with that. I don't really need to see it again. But like Wall-E or
Interesting.
Cars, like or Monsters Inc., I'll go back and watch those like probably the rest of my life. But this one, I don't know. I don't think it had, not that it was bad by any means. It just wasn't that level, I guess. But what do you guys think?
Kyle.
All right. Yeah, I guess I'm up. I had pretty high expectations walking into this movie just because like I saw the trailer and I thought it looked dope. So and it's Pixar, so I just immediately set my expectations high, and I think it nailed it. I really, really enjoyed this movie. I'm trying to think on my scale of 1 to 10 where I'd put it. Somewhere in between 9 and 10 for sure.
Really? Okay.
Yes, it's probably going to end up being.
So the B team did a really good job.
I thought so. Like I was looking forward to this movie way more than Soul. I am looking forward to Soul. But yeah, so I thoroughly enjoyed it. As far as rewatchability goes, I will definitely rewatch this movie. Yeah, and I just feel like I don't know. I think it struck a lot of chords too emotionally, just because like I have a brother, and we don't agree on some things a lot, and so I feel like that was a pretty cool aspect of it too. Just like emotionally, it really hit there. So yeah, that's my thoughts. Loved it.
All right, Davis?
I as well thought it was an awesome movie. I'm definitely going to watch it again. Yeah, it was really fun and entertaining and also really emotional. Pixar loves to hurt your feelings.
I know. They know what they're doing. They really do.
But I mean, yeah, I was talking to Kyle before we recorded, but I realized afterwards that all of us are older brothers.
That's true. Yeah.
Which I think probably makes the viewing of this movie a little different. And especially for me, I'm an older brother, but my dad died 5 years. Is it 5 years ago? So like, I watched it with my mom, and afterwards, mom was like, "Was there anything that you could see or identify with in your life?" And I was like, "I don't know."
That's
Davis,
such a mom question.
I literally thought about you while watching this movie, and I was like I was at the end of the theater, like literally fighting my tears back. It's bawling right now because I would have been like for sure.
Yeah, well, the whole like second half of the movie, pretty much like every 5 minutes, there's something happening. But I remember at the very beginning of the movie, they were talking about Ian and Barley were talking about dad or something.
Spoilers?
Not really.
Okay,
They were talking about their dad or something, and mom was sitting next to me, and she just goes, "Oh boy." I was like, "Yep, here we go."
Let it begin.
But I gave it a 9.1, which is the highest I have rated a movie
this year
so far. Yeah, this year.
Dang.
Second highest is Jojo Rabbit, and then third is 1917.
That's what I'm trying to figure out for myself, is like, because ideally my top like 3 movies or whatever the year are going to be 10s.
Right.
Like, that's kind of how I want my scale to be. And so I'm trying to decide, like, I feel like at the end of the year, this one might be it's in the top 5 for sure. So yeah, I don't know. Like I feel like I'm confident saying that now, even though it's only March.
That's a lot of confidence. I don't know if I have that level of confidence. And to your point, like all of us are being older brothers. I think it would be. I wish we had an opinion of someone who had an older sibling. But yeah, I definitely I thought of Davis a lot, especially on the ride home. I was just like, oh wow, we might get into some really deep waters here.
Deep waters.
But it's
yeah,
funny because like Barley's character is like very much so reminiscent of my brother. So it's funny because the roles are kind of reversed. Like my brother is very much so, you know, like, yes, out of the two of us, he would for sure be Barley. Right. And so like, it was just funny because like, you know, he's really into like D&D and all that stuff. And so I like totally was like, yeah, I was like, dang, this is like Justin a lot. Who's my brother. And April even leaned over and said that to me during the movie. She's like, I feel like that's Justin. And I was like, yeah, totally. Which is awesome. Like, I love him. And that was cool. So I feel like that's another reason why I connected with it too. I was like, dang, you know?
Mm-hmm. I don't necessarily think, for me, there wasn't any characters that were like super relatable, I guess, like between me and my brother. But it definitely like struck chords, even without that, because like for me, my brother just got married yesterday actually, and so like I'm not one to cry in the movie. I didn't cry in this one, but I definitely felt emotions, which is hard for a movie to get me to do. So.
Mr. Robot over here.
Emotions.
I felt emotions.
I felt something.
That's awesome.
But yeah, when a movie can do that for me, it's pretty good. So, I don't know. I feel like the odd one out, ranking it so low. I feel a little.
I mean,
bad
you're still
now.
giving a good ranking. Also, shout out to Devin for getting married. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Yes. Thank you. I don't think he listens to this, so I'll let him know that you said that.
Yeah, I don't think my brother listens. I don't even think my brother knows this exists. Actually, he probably would though. He's a supportive guy. So
yeah. Well, I don't. Even if he did listen to it, it'd be a while probably before he listened to it because he's probably busy this week, and so
being on his honeymoon and all.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Davis, you'll find out someday.
Yeah, whatever.
But anyway,
sooner than we think.
Ooh.
Yeah, you don't know.
I'm totally just starting.
I was gonna say, was there?
Because I know she listens to these sometimes. I know she listens to these sometimes. So I was just gonna. Yeah, my goal there was just to start a really awkward conversation between me and his girlfriend. Let me know if it works.
All right. I'll
I'm just
keep you
kidding. She's
updated.
awesome. I met her last weekend. Super sweet.
Is she okay? Good. I can't wait to meet her someday. Someday, me and Cass are gonna head out to Colorado, and I promise you that, Davis.
Good.
It's recorded and official.
Yeah,
so.
it's
Yeah,
recorded.
no.
There's
You
no
can't
backing
back
out.
away.
Dude,
We
it
approve.
is the equivalent of me, Pinky, promising you that. Okay.
Okay.
Did you Did you guys
All
see
right.
all the? Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say we should get back into the movie.
Yeah, you're probably right. You're right.
Let's hit it. Should
all
we
right,
should we just jump right into spoilers? Should we stay spoiler free for a bit? What do you guys think?
I mean, I'm
Jump
good to
in.
go with spoilers.
All right, let's do it. Spoiler warning, everyone. If you're listening, please go watch this movie. It's great. Yeah, spoilers now. They bring the dad back. Da da da.
They do.
That actually surprised me. I 100%
did?
was expecting him not to come back. Like, because I knew the whole realization was going to happen with Ian, where he, like, the older brother, and they've been, bonding throughout this journey. Like, I knew that whole scene was going to happen, and I thought that was going to be enough. Like, I didn't think they were actually going to bring the dad back, but they did, and I thought it was perfect. So,
yeah, I definitely think that the way they did it definitely struck a lot more chords with most people. I feel like I agree. I did not think that they were going to do that. I thought it was just going to be the legs the whole time. But yeah.
So how do we feel about the legs as a character?
Great. I mean, I thought it was really fun. It was kind of funny. I mean, if you're gonna be a Kyle about it, and
I was gonna bring that up later.
Overanalyze,
yeah.
overanalyze. Like, the legs can't hear, and like they do seem to have kind of some kind of
Sensory.
like, they can kind of see, or they
Mhm.
can kind of that stuff. But yeah, I still thought it was fun. So yeah,
I think that they had a very difficult task, and to be able to make a pair of legs emotional and relatable.
Yes.
And I think they did a good job. I think they had to take some liberties in order to do that with it. Like Davis was alluding to, like him being able to see and hear, even though they made it obvious that he can't. So I'm ultimately, go ahead.
I think they played around that very well. Like, there are very few moments in the movie where he acts like he can see or hear. Like
right.
Like,
Mhm.
the only like nitpick I would have is like the whole dancing scene. Like he like found them immediately when he was dancing and stuff like that. So like,
Yeah.
they kind of ignored their own rules for a few different scenes, which they kind of had to make it work. But
Right.
yeah, that would be like my nitpick of the movie, is like they just weren't consistent the whole way through.
Yeah.
But I loved it as a character. I thought that was so cool.
I'm really interesting to see what kind of merchandising they do with it. Like, does it just
Oh, that would be sweet.
Have a pair of legs.
like,
Dude, it'd
plush
be the
legs?
sickest lamp. No, it'd be the sickest lamp.
You're actually right. That would be a really cool. Oh, dude.
All right,
you
Disney,
need to,
at
you're
me.
In the you're in the wrong.
Somebody hire Kyle.
A plush toy would be really nice to have of that, like a life-size plush toy.
That would be really funny. Yeah, no, I thought the comedic relief with the pants and like the whole like, whatever hoodie on top with the sunglasses, like that was so good.
Yeah, like when
they
he
were
was,
with the pixies or whatever,
Yep.
that whole scene. Oh my gosh, I thought that was done so well. I do feel like Disney is very good about knowing like what's going on in culture and society and really how to capitalize on that. Like, I feel like the nerd culture has really become a thing, especially with Stranger Things and that. Like, I feel like they nailed the timing of this kind of movie. Like, I feel like they're so good about that kind of thing.
I would definitely agree. Because I guess not spoilers isn't the right a tease. We might ourselves be doing a D&D style podcast in the future, but that's on the DL, so don't really tell a whole lot of people.
And it may or may not happen if we have time.
If we have time. Yeah, that's going to be the
That's
biggest
the hard part.
But we'll see. We'll see. I will tell you this movie, the entire time, all I wanted to do was play that game with you guys so bad. Like,
Oh yeah.
I was just thinking up ideas. Like,
as
constant.
the only, what do we call ourselves? Joes? Or I don't know. As the only optional opinion who has played, it wasn't technically D&D. It was called Pathfinder, but it's basically the same game. I did
Actually,
really
know somebody who
appreciate.
used to write for them, but anyway, continue.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I did really appreciate a lot of there were a lot of references and just I thought it was really cool how they had like the spell book, and Barley knew all the spells, and he was really excited about the different stuff, and he knew how the spells worked and what you had to do. And I appreciated it. It was kind of a nod to D&D. First of all, I don't know if either of you noticed, but on Barley's left arm, he's wearing this like on his sleeve gauntlet thing, there is a 20-sided die that's like etched in there.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't see that.
I thought it was cool. But just like the way magic works in D&D is very similar to the way that it works in the movie. Is like when the harder the spell is, the less you can, or like the harder the spell is, the more energy it takes, the less times you can use it, and like the more concentration you have to use and everything.
Or the 15-yard radius is like, you can't use that spell. He's like, awesome. I laughed so hard during that scene. He's just like, this guy thinks he can use a levitation spell more than 15 feet. Come on, Nate. It was great. That was probably one of my favorite parts.
That's why I like it. I intend to have a good conversation with my brother because he loves that kind of thing. So I'm excited for him to see it and to talk to him about it.
Yeah.
And I would love to see a universe around this movie. I know it probably wouldn't end up being good in the long run, but I'd enjoy it.
Oh yeah.
I think they handled just the whole universe and setting it up so well.
Well, at the very least, I actually feel like that they can make a pretty good video game out of this that come out like on the Nintendo Switch. I feel like that'd probably be the best platform for that. But I think that they could probably do a lot with that, and it'd be really fun.
Especially at the end, when he's fighting the dragon, he's using all the spells together. Like that was such a cool scene, and I'm like, just give me a movie where they just go on some quests together. Like I'd eat that up.
Yes, I want to talk about the ending a little bit. Like that whole scene, like when he's like using all the magic together and stuff. Like, oh, dude, it was actually a really cool and intense scene. I really thoroughly enjoyed it.
And mom using her training, that was so cool. So funny.
That was hilarious. Awesome. At first, like at first I kind of rolled my eyes and I was like, actually, this is kind of funny. I like this.
They played that so well.
Yeah. But I actually going into the ending before like the third act, I actually wasn't sure how I was going to rate this movie. Like, I feel like a lot of times endings can either like really make or break a movie. And I really feel like the ending was like nailed for this movie.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I especially, okay. Well, first of all, I like this movie and Zootopia and, even Star Wars and stuff. There are certain movies and certain universes that I just want to see. Like with Zootopia, when it ended, I was like, that's awesome. But also, can we just make a movie about like the daily life of a elephant or whatever, like walking around? Like, I just want to see more of what that universe looks like. And that's how I felt here is, like what do these creatures do? Or like what things do they have to adjust to, or like depending on what humans would do versus what centaurs do or whatever. Mm-hmm. But also at the very end, I agree that I think they did the ending really well, and I was thinking I was thinking that they would have like a they would bring the dad back for just a little bit, and that's what I was thinking. And then when it happened that Barley got to, like say goodbye, say hi to his dad, and Ian like helped him with that, I thought that was when that happened, I was like, oh, and then like during the scene I was like, oh, this was definitely the right choice.
I
This
know,
is
dude.
very
The
good.
writers are so good. Like,
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I don't understand it.
Yeah, no, it was very, very emotional. I felt a lot of things.
all the
Which
feels.
is very rare, very rare.
Very, but I did in fact feel things. Yeah, I thought that was really cool, especially like when they're on the Cheeto boat or whatever. It's probably not Cheeto for a license. Oh no, it'd be like a cheese puff.
Right.
Yeah.
But like when he accidentally slipped, he's just like, oh yeah, I want more than 4 memories, and then like going into like how he never got to say goodbye. It felt it kind of reminded me of Star-Lord from Guardians of the Galaxy. I don't know if you guys thought of that.
No, I didn't make that
Not
connection.
really.
But it makes sense. I see it now.
Yeah. Very, very kind of like similar, like emotional strings being plucked. But yeah, I thought that was really good, and then just to have the ending the way it was is perfect. I wish I was as good of a writer. I don't write, but I wish I was as good of a writer as those people. That they did a phenomenal job.
Honestly, like they just need to get paid so much money for what they do. Everything is so well done.
Yeah,
I did think
agreed.
this is just kind of a little thing, but I thought it was awesome at the end when the dragon would roar and you could hear like the school alarm in it, or like
I
the fire
didn't
alarm.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, I heard there was like this kind of high pitched ringing when it would roar. That
Mhm.
was that was the fire alarm from the school.
That's so cool.
I thought,
good
yeah.
little touch. Yeah,
Yeah, it was.
That's
Yeah, I
sweet.
liked it a lot.
Dang, I really wish I would have picked up on that. Dang, Davis with the little tiny details.
Well done. Well
This is
done.
like 3 movies in a row.
Yeah,
impressed.
Kyle, you need to pick it up, man.
Davis. I mean, there comes a day when
There comes a day.
the student becomes the teacher.
Maybe that's what happened. Brandon's going to be next, and he's going to be telling us
Yeah.
all about stuff that we missed.
Well, I would like. I guess I'm retconning my. Won't watch it again. I would probably watch it again to like go back and find like little details, especially when they were walking. There was stuff I could see in the background, but the scene would switch too quickly before I could like identify like what it was. There was definitely like this rock that looked like a face in the background of one of their things, and as soon as I noticed it, the scene changed, and I was just like, oh, I want to know what that was. And like it's probably like a little hint at like or Easter egg at some other thing.
Oh yeah.
But I would imagine that like if I saw that one, I'd imagine that there's a lot more.
Probably. I mean, I know Pixar puts Easter eggs in all their stuff. You can find the Pizza Planet truck, if I'm not mistaken, in every movie somewhere. Every
Yeah,
Pixar movie
Sometimes
somewhere.
it's just like I think sometimes it's just the logo, right? It's not always the truck.
Sometimes there
Yeah.
has been just the logo,
But I
didn't
think
see it in
also
this one.
the ball, the like little red or yellow and blue and red ball, that's in pretty much all of them. I think.
I don't know if that's in all of them, but I'm pretty sure it's in most.
Yeah.
But yeah, the one with the star on it.
Mm-hmm. Also, it is Pixar tradition to put an Easter egg in a movie for the next movie. So you could probably Google it, but there's probably something in
Are you talking
Onward for Soul?
like
yeah.
Soul? Okay.
That,
I didn't know.
so
He meant,
if you,
yeah.
if you watch Soul, my guess would be there's something in there. Like something happens in there with some object or something, and then you could go back in Onward, and it would be in one of the scenes.
Well, yeah, it's like what's his face being Doom Kaboom or something like
Duke
that, being
Kaboom.
in Incredibles 2. He
Right.
was one of Jack's toys
Right.
from Toy Story 4, which Kyle hasn't really seen yet, I don't think.
That's actually true. I
Lame.
haven't seen it yet. I don't know.
It's on Disney Plus now.
Here's the thing about Disney Plus, guys. I
you don't have it.
Well, sounds like you should get on that.
It sounds like I shouldn't because I wouldn't get my money's worth. Although maybe I would, because if I rented a movie, it'd probably be like $5 or whatever. So
Yeah.
maybe I'd do it for a month and get caught up on some movies I haven't seen.
Yeah, that'd definitely be interesting to. I'd be really interested to see Soul and see if we can find anything. Or what was the last Pixar movie to come out?
I think it was Incredibles 2.
No, because Toy Story 4 came out after that.
Yeah.
Would it be Toy Story 4?
Oh,
I
then
think so.
yeah.
Okay. So Davis, you I think have a little bit more enthusiasm with Pixar than I. Not to say that I don't have enthusiasm, because I most certainly do. But I think you might
Yes.
have a little bit more experience in the Pixar universe. Is that what they call it? Right? Pixar universe. How like the theory that every Pixar is connected, which is why you see the pizza truck or the symbol at least in every single movie. How does Onward fit in this universe?
So that is a great question. For people who don't know, just to expand a little bit on what Brandon already said, the general idea of Pixar universe is that all of the movies happened on Earth, including Monsters Inc. That is Earth. Basically, we start with Brave. The witch from Brave is actually Boo from Monsters Inc. And the witch knows how to time travel. That's how she goes through the doors. Anyway, we could really get bogged down, but basically, main overview is as the Earth evolves, just normal Earth evolves, whatever. Then Wall-E happens, where we slowly start to erode the Earth. Things start to go crazy. Earth becomes kind of a wasteland. If I'm not mistaken, that's when Cars happens. Cars is like basically machines become sentient, and Cars happens, and the whole time the people are out in space on the Wall-E thing, spaceship. They come back, they start mutating over thousands or millions of years or whatever. They mutate into monsters from Monsters Inc. And then the doors are time travel that take them back to our time, which lets them scare children from our time. Anyway, that's the whole theory. If I had to guess, I would say maybe that the monsters eventually do transfer over or progress into magical beings. I would say I could also see it saying that this came before Monsters Inc., that this was kind of on the path into that like evolution. I don't know for sure. I'm sure a great resource if you're interested in this kind of stuff is the Super Carlin Brothers on YouTube. I'm sure they already have a video that I need to watch.
Do.
Yes.
Yeah. So I was actually hoping that you would explain some of the stuff in their video, but I actually have seen it. So this might be one instance where I know more than you, Davis.
Oh, interesting.
Okay. So, and again, this is purely speculation. Anything I say is not endorsed by Pixar, but no. So basically, the going theory was that it might have been some time between A Good Dinosaur and I forget what comes after that. But they actually disputed that, the Collin brothers, and I'll link their video down in the description if I haven't said that. Basically, they think it's in the same universe, but the planet they're on is not Earth.
Interesting.
And the reason they say that is because
of the two moons.
The two moons. And that is what they think definitively says that they are not on Earth. Another theory is that it is all Andy's dream.
Huh. Okay.
I don't like that one as much. And they get there's I don't know if there's evidence, quote unquote, but it's been like probably a month since I've seen that. Even though this movie came out, I think they did it when the trailer dropped. They had their theory. So there might even be a new one. I'll link everything. Like
everything.
Yeah. Everything. And this episode is probably going to come out late. It'll probably come out on a Tuesday. Also, sorry for not posting last Monday. I know you guys were all on the edge of your seats waiting for us to have a mini episode. That didn't happen just because, life's busy and life's busy. Sorry about my dogs in the background. But
the Pixar theory is kind of funny because, like what you said with the Andy's Dream thing, because these are all animated movies, like you can really just go for whatever. Like you could throw anything at the wall and just kind of be like, yeah, that's what I think happens. And there's really no like physical laws to keep you to really dispute that or any of your claims. So I think that's why it's kind of fun. It's also mostly just like a thought exercise. And if I'm not mistaken, actually, I think John Lasseter either like confirmed it or he basically just said like, yeah, that's a really cool thing. Go ahead and believe that if you want to. Like, we're just going to keep making fun movies. You do what you want to do about it.
Yeah. And speaking of John Lasseter, this is actually his first the first Pixar movie to be released without him being the CEO of what is the CEO of what is it just Pixar? I think it was Disney.
Well, Disney Animation or something.
Yeah, something like that. I'm not too familiar. Disney owns Pixar now, right? When did that happen?
Oh, that happened in like the early 2000s.
Okay. I couldn't remember that. Pixar has actually had a really interesting history, and maybe we can talk about that a little bit more, like on the next mini episode, if it happens. Hopefully it does. But I also, in the next mini episode, I'd like to list our favorite Pixar movies in order. So be prepared for that, guys. But
there's a guy named John Ratzenberger, I think is his name.
Is he the guy that's in every single Pixar movie?
Yes. He is in every single Pixar movie. He does some voice somewhere. He was also in Cheers, just show from the 80s/90s, but he has been usually it's a really small role, but he has been in every single Pixar movie basically since the beginning.
What do you know what person he was in this one? Because I didn't.
He was one of the construction workers. At the very end, when Barley is like hanging on to the fountain, he's one of the construction workers that tells him to get off.
Yeah,
you would probably recognize him, like his voice. He's Mac the truck from Cars, and he's Ham from Toy Story. So those are the ones that people would really probably know him from.
Yeah, like every other like cameo is a very tiny role. I think those are probably his biggest ones.
Usually, I think his actually he played the he was the captain in WALL-E, but
that's true.
Other than that, I think one of
no he wasn't.
There was maybe it was Wally.
In Wally, he was the guy that was in the chair that Wally.
Right. That Wally like broke. I think
Mhm.
I forget which movie it was, but there was one where like it was his least amount of lines, and it was like I think he said 2 or 3 words or something.
I'm pretty sure I haven't seen A Good Dinosaur. I think that's the only Pixar movie I haven't seen, sadly. But I heard it wasn't that good, and so I just haven't gotten to it.
It is a very beautiful movie. You would like just physically, artistically beautiful movie. The animation is amazing. So, yeah.
Yeah, but I heard it's almost like distracting because like these very obviously animated characters are in this almost realistic world. And I heard that was probably like, yeah, it might have been beautiful, but like it's like almost detracts from the movie because of it. I don't know. I haven't seen it. I've only heard about it.
And this is not about the good dinosaur. So
no, it is not. Back to Onward. We can talk a little bit about box office ball. Me and you both had an actor in this movie.
yes, we did.
You had Chris Pratt, who played Barley, and I had Tom Holland, who played I forget their names.
Ian.
This is embarrassing. Ian, yeah, I just watched this movie. I did. I really did. And Kyle didn't have anyone, but this is definitely going to be. I think this is going to be a big hit. I think it's a Sunday that we're recording on right now, and I think the box office I saw yesterday, I think it was like 50.
This one says 40 million domestic opening.
That's So is there
overseas it earned 28 million, so 68 million total.
So this weekend it's already earned more than like Harley Quinn earned in its entire. No, I'm just kidding. But it's earning a lot. I think that this is probably going to be the biggest opener so far. Basically, all we've had is Doolittle, which I think had a grand total of 200 million.
Really?
Which isn't. Yeah. It got up there.
It's more than I thought it was.
Yeah, it was 200.
Huh.
Yeah, it did okay. But I think this one's gonna get probably close to the 700. That'd be my guess. But I could be wrong.
That's true.
But Pixar usually does pretty good. I'm not exactly sure their track record. I'd imagine that the Toy Stories do really good. I was like reading a word as I said that. I don't even know what I said. But sorry, back to Onward. We are too easily distracted. One thing I think would be really interesting to do is talk to like some of the animators someday. Maybe if our podcast becomes more successful, we can get people on. I have personally been trying to contact certain animators at Pixar to no avail.
Really? Good luck.
Yeah, I mean, why not? Like,
you might as well, sure.
I mean, like, I'm not gonna name their name just so all of our Joes don't like harass them on Instagram and Twitter for not obviously taking this opportunity to work with us. But I messaged him just like, hey, we're talking about Onward in like a month. If you want to do like an interview about it, that'd be cool. I didn't word exactly like that, but basically exactly like that. And nothing. But that's okay. I will keep trying, and we will eventually get a semi-interesting guest on this podcast. So,
yes, we shall.
But the reason I brought that up is because I thought that the animation for the dragon that was like a dog. My guess, if I was like making a movie like this, I would just have one team, and I'd just be like, "Look, you guys, you have to have a pet to be on this team, okay? And then if you don't, get out of here, and then replace somebody with a pet, and then you all have to solely work on this little dragon." And because it was just so reminiscent, if you've had a dog,
Especially an excitable dog.
Oh my gosh, this is exactly how dogs react, and I every time it was on screen, like it was just the way it acted, the way it responded, the way they gave it like its own like scenes by itself. Like it would just like like something would happen and then it would cut to the dog noticing that happening and then the dog like interacting with it. Like it's exactly how dogs respond. It was great. I loved it. And then they spray the dragon blows fire at it and they spray the water. It was dude. That was a really good character. I would have liked to seen more of that, but at the same time I feel like it might have possibly been overdone if that was the case.
Yeah,
But
I don't know. It was a fun like little thing to have, but I
yeah.
think it was good.
Yeah, I think yeah, I take that back. I think it had a good amount of them, and
Just the right
that's
amount.
all that I want. Just the right amount. um, but yeah, I would say probably my. I wouldn't say I don't have anything specific that I'm just like, yeah, this sucked. But I think I felt like I was worried in the beginning. It was kind of corny, and I don't feel like some of the jokes were hitting right. I don't think it had a strong beginning, but I think that's probably my only riff. But like I kind of alluded to in the beginning, I don't think if the ending wasn't as good as it was, I don't think this movie would have been that great overall. But it did have a good ending, so that's good. So good for them. But I think that's all I had to say. Do you wanna go into upvotes and downvotes? You kind of just alluded to my downvote.
I mean, yeah, I mean, it's hard to pick like a single upvote. Just the whole movie was
I know,
great.
But every single time, Davis, every single time we ask you to pick one thing, you end up talking about 5. You need to stick to one. You have to have some sort of this. There has to be structure.
Whatever.
every time, literally, I think it was. What was our last episode that you were on? It wasn't Pan's Labyrinth.
It was Harley Quinn. I think.
Yeah.
Birds of Prey.
I was just like. Yeah, you're like, I actually have a couple of posts, and I'm like, no, Davis, you can only pick one, and you're like, okay, and then you proceed to talk about 5 things, and I didn't catch it until after listening to it again, and I'm just like that little jerk.
Because I do what I want, Brandon.
I know. I have noticed.
I think my upvote is. I mean, I already talked about it, but at the very end when they brought the dad back. I think they did that super well, and I think that was definitely for me. That was the ending that I didn't know that I needed or wanted. So, yeah, that was really awesome. And I'm trying to think of another specific thing because just to annoy Brandon. I liked that there's an alarm in the dragon's roar. So, and then for a downvote. I don't know. There wasn't that, like, if you want to get really nitpicky, I thought it was kind of weird that they're supposed to be, well, no, I guess that makes sense. I was going to say that they travel all this way north and then they find this cave and they end up back where they were. I thought that was weird, but then I remembered that they walked a fair amount, and then they got on a floating, whatever it is, Cheeto Puff. So it works. I don't know. I don't have a downvote. It's very good.
I kind of just alluded to my downvote. I felt like the beginning was a little corny, and but there wasn't like a definitive thing that I could put my finger to the pulse on exactly what it was. It just felt a little awkward. I'd say probably my upvote. I don't want to say the ending with the dad because that was great. But I'd say probably the funniest scene to me, and actually that was like pretty influential in the story arc with him and his brother was a scene where they like transformed themselves to look like their mom's boyfriend, the cop.
Oh yeah.
Which was like, it was very comical. And then at the end of it, he like lies and says that he doesn't think his older brother's a screw up, and then it like starts to disappear. And he like, that's, I think, very influential, and I think was definitely needed. It's kind of one of those things. It's like you need to take 2 steps backwards before you can take a step forward. And his realization at the end, like, man, like he wouldn't be who he is without his brother, you know?
Uh-huh.
So I really liked that. I felt that was a good, it's not a capstone, but I think it's a good foundation for the capstone. But yeah, that's going to be my upvote officially. Kyle, what about you? Kyle,
go ahead. It's your turn.
No, Kyle, this is when you speak. All right, so we're having technical issues with Kyle. He actually, that's probably why he hasn't been speaking the last 20 25 minutes. Yeah, I'm getting a report that's saying that he died. I'm sorry, his computer died.
It's not. Kyle himself is fine. His computer is in dire need of not being used anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So
I hear it's on life support. It's being plugged in constantly. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you got to pull the plug.
Yes. So if you would like to support Kyle's laptop, please give Kyle money so that he can buy a new one and put the old one in the trash.
You can go to, our Patreon, our Venmo, our Cash App, our all at Optional Opinions. You can find us anywhere there.
Yes, please do that. Maybe like DM us on Instagram first or something, and then we'll get you that info.
One share on an Instagram post of ours is $1 for Kyle's laptop. So
from you share it and you give us $1 is how that works.
That's Yep. It's kind of like 1 like equals 1 prayer kind of thing like that. Yeah. It's very unique. It's new. It's in beta right now.
Right.
But
so that's the podcast. Minus Kyle.
Minus Kyle. It's like
it's 2/3 of the podcast.
Yeah. Fractions. That's how they work. It's probably more like 5/6 because he was in half of it.
Right.
So there's a piece missing, and hopefully it'll be filled in post-production, but probably not. I can't guarantee. All right, that's enough banter. That was a long riff. That went on so much longer than we planned.
You got some editing to do.
Nope, that's going in cold.
All right.
There's nothing.
We're not changing a thing.
If you are still listening, God bless you.
Way to go.
All right. There's not really a whole lot of movie news. I think
the coronavirus is affecting box office stuff.
No, you can't say the word, otherwise we get demonetized.
The disease that shall not be named is affecting box office stuff.
Mm-hmm. It's Voldemort herpes. That's what I call it.
And so they moved James Bond. The movie theater that I went to actually was me and my mom, and then there were 2 other people in the theater, and that's it, which I thought was really weird for opening weekend. I don't know if it's like that's the only reason. That theater, it was kind of like mid-afternoon on a Saturday, but that theater is usually not crowded very much at all. So I don't know if it was just the theater or if it actually had something to do with the disease that shall not be named. So
mine was like probably about a quarter full, and it was a pretty large theater. But yeah, still, I feel like opening weekend there should have been a little bit more people. I'm glad because I showed up late because my dog got loose and I had to go find her, so I was late to it. But we never talked about the beginning. Okay. Real quick. So I saw this right before the recording, and Kyle and Davis saw this, I think, yesterday. Both of you guys saw it yesterday. Or at least some point earlier on. Both of you texted me, there's like a treat in the beginning, but the treat's not that good. It's like, it's okay. It's just
It said it's a
nonetheless.
surprise.
A surprise. I'm sorry. Yes, a surprise. And so you guys told me that last night. I actually had a dream about the surprise. Okay. So I think my dream was better than the actual surprise. So the real surprise was like a short little, if you've seen it, or if you've seen the movie, you know, or if you showed up late, you don't know. It's a little Homer Simpson short, which is all right. I mean, I don't watch The Simpsons. It's all right, right?
Yeah, it was fine.
All right.
You know, it was whatever.
So my dream was that Onward actually had Force users from Star Wars in them, and that Ian was like actually a Jedi, and that was the surprise in the end, in the beginning of the movie, and then they had nothing to do with it before. I think my dream was better than what the actual surprise was. Let us know down in the comments what you think. Hit like, smash the subscribe button. You know how this
Right,
works.
this has gone too far. I need to put an end to this.
Yeah.
Answer what you think. What class you would be for if you played D&D, like bard or mage or wizard or rogue or whatever.
Based off of what I want, or what my personality
I guess
is,
what your personality is.
What my personality. Okay. So, well, my name is Brandon, and what class I would be in D&D would be probably a halfling.
That's your race.
Oh, I'd be a wizard halfling.
Okay. I can see you as a wizard. My name's Davis.
Thank you.
And I don't know what my race would be. Something super cool, like a drow or something.
See, everyone always wants to pick elf, so it's more fun to pick a halfling or a hobbit.
I don't know, maybe like a drow, but I'd probably just be a fighter. So,
dude, you're just a tank.
Yeah,
that's what you are.
I mean, yeah, which is a fighter. So,
yeah, all right. And so now we get to pick for Kyle since he's not here to defend himself.
Yeah.
So
I feel like Kyle could be a good bard.
Kyle's name is Kyle, and yeah, I think I would love to be serenaded by Kyle's amazing singing voice.
Right, be inspired.
If you guys haven't had the pleasure, we'll change that. Someday we'll get Kyle to sing. Oh, I'm so excited for him to listen to this episode. But all right, yeah. So that's about it. I did notice in the last episode I didn't thank Chase for coming on to the podcast at the end. So thank you, Chase. I'll do that here. He's a pretty avid listener, so he should listen to this. So thanks, bud. Appreciate it. That's it. All right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Bye.
All right, bye.